A few turns of a screwdriver puts drone journalism a little closer to getting off the ground. Ben Crimer is one of the 3 undergraduate students at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, seeing how drones could be used to aid reporters. The lab has already created one story using the aerial footage, but they are still running into roadblocks. Matthew Waite, professor of journalism at UNL, is the first to admit that he has crashed several drones during these test flights. But beyond the technical problems, the lab is still dealing with legal and ethical issues that surround drone journalism.
And that's, I think, where the real concern lies, is what do we consider to be a reasonable expectation of privacy? People talk to me all the time, I don't want you flying these things over my backyard and taking pictures of my backyard. And I say, I don't need to. I can go on Google and find those. Aerial photography goes on all the time.
Even though this is technically research, there are still a number of rules that the Drone Journalism Lab has to follow. For example, they cannot fly higher than 400 meters because the FAA has deemed that illegal.
When we were flying on Friday, it was pretty windy out, and that in conjunction with the sensitivity of these drones regarding their gyroscopes. So they have, with the 4 motors, they are controlled, I guess, using gyroscopes. So if they're off balance, one motor will compensate, or the motors will compensate for each other to achieve balance, okay? And so when you're taking off, it can be difficult if the drone is unbalanced, because you will immediately have motors trying to compensate, except it's not in the air. And so what happens is the drone takes off in a kind of chaotic fashion, and you have to balance it out manually. And in doing so on Friday, there was a big gust of wind, and the drone flew at us and bounced off my leg and crashed and broke a motor mount, and kind of showing how difficult it is to fly these drones.
Even with the technical difficulty, 30 states have moved to ban aerial photography and other uses similar to drone journalism. This might have a chilling effect on researchers such as the Drone Journalism Lab. And with those aforementioned restrictions, do you think that will create a chilling effect with drone research and development in the short term?
It could have a chilling effect. So far, it hasn't, because most of the legislatures that have been considering more significant bans have reconsidered once they learned the kind of research that was going on in their state and the benefits of that research that could accrue to some very, very, very large industries.
Until the FAA rewrites some legislation, don't expect to see sweeping shots like these anytime soon.